Babylon the Great, the End Time Babylonians. Identifying Babylon the Great, as identified in Revelation 17 and 18, is a matter of life and death for God's people, the church. But God also prophesied about her in the prophets of the Old Testament. God warned his people to come out of her, my people, he says. He says that in Revelation. He says that in Jeremiah. He says that in Isaiah. Who is Babylon the Great? Well, we're going to see that God speaks the same way about Babylon in the Old Testament and the New Testament. And these passages from Revelation, Habakkuk, Jeremiah, Isaiah all identify who she is. The angel said to me, "Why are you astonished? I will explain to you the mystery of Babylon the Great." So God has revealed to us who the end-time Babylonians are. The angel said to me, "I will show you the punishment of Babylon the Great, who sits by many waters. With her the kings of the earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine or money of her adulteries. Babylon held a gold cup, filled with abominable things of her adulteries. Jehovah will carry out his purpose against the people of Babylon. You who live by many waters and are rich in treasures, your end has come. Babylon was a gold cup in Jehovah's hand. She made the whole world drunk. The nations drank her wine, and therefore they have now gone mad." I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters. With her the kings of the earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth became drunk with the wine of her adulteries. Prostitute, one who claims to know God but does not follow Jehovah's ways or God's ways. You have followed the ways of kings and led my people to prostitute themselves. The faithful city became a prostitute. Once she was full of justice and righteousness, but now murderers. I gave faithless Israel her certificate of divorce because of her adulteries. Babylon was drunk with the blood of the saints, the blood of those who bore testimony to Jehovah. The waters where Babylon sits were peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages. Babylon rules over the kings of the earth. Babylon the Great is a dwelling for demons, a haunt for every evil spirit. All the nations have drunk the wine of her adulteries. The merchants of the earth grew rich from her excessive luxuries. Babylon must fall because of Israel's slain. How shattered is the hammer of the whole earth. The Babylonians sacrificed to their dragnet, for by their economy they live in luxury and enjoy the choicest of foods. Then I heard from heaven, "Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues. Pay her back double for what she has done. A nation from the north will attack and lay waste her land. Flee out of Babylon, lead the flock. Cut off from Babylon the sower and the reaper. Let everyone return to their land. Flee from Babylon. Run for your lives. Don't be destroyed because of her sins. It's time for Jehovah's vengeance. Leave Babylon, free from the Babylonians, with shouts of joy. Declare it to the ends of the earth. Say, Jehovah has redeemed his people." The Antichrist and the 10 kings will hate Mystery Babylon, and they will bring her to ruin and leave her naked. They will burn her with fire, for God has put it in their hearts to fulfill his purpose. The sword against the Babylonians, like Sodom and Gomorrah, along with the neighboring towns, declares Jehovah. Russia is coming from the north, a great nation and many kings. Babylon, the jewel of the kingdoms, the pride and the glory of the Babylonians will be destroyed by Jehovah like Sodom and Gomorrah. Prepare for war. Jehovah has stirred up the kings of Iran because of his purpose is to destroy Babylon.
give her as much torment as the glory and luxury she gave herself. In her heart she boasts, I sit as enthroned as queen. I am not a widow. I will never mourn. Therefore, in one day, her plagues will overtake her. Death, mourning, famine. She will be consumed by fire, for mighty is Jehovah who judges her. Go down, sit in the dust, virgin, daughter of Babylon. I, Jehovah, will take vengeance. I will spare no one. Sit in silence. Go into darkness. Queen, city of the Babylonians. You say, I am eternal queen, but you did not consider what might happen. Now you, lover of pleasure and lounging in security and saying, I will never be a widow, I will never suffer loss of children, both of these will overtake you in a single day. When they see the smoke of her burning, they will exclaim, was there ever a great city like this? They will weep and mourn and cry out, woe to you, great city, where all the ships on the sea became rich through her wealth. In 1 hour she has been brought to ruin. Rejoice over her, heavens. Rejoice, you people of God, for Jehovah has judged her. The time has come when I will punish the idols of Babylon. Her whole land will be disgraced. Her slain will lie within her. Then heaven and earth and all that is in them will shout for joy over Babylon. Out of the north, destroyers will attack her, declares Jehovah. Babylon must fall because of Israel's slain, just as the slain in all the earth have fallen because of Babylon. I will show you the punishment of Babylon the Great, prostitute who sits by many waters. My people prostitute themselves. They've been led astray. Jehovah, your sins will be forgiven if you are obedient. But if you rebel, you will be destroyed. See how my people have become a prostitute. Babylon will be captured. Bel, the sun god, will be put to shame. Marduk, the pagan god, will be filled with terror. Her images put to shame, her idols filled with terror. My people have been lost sheep. Their pastures led them astray. They forgot their place. They sinned against Jehovah, the true pasture, the hope of their ancestors. A prophecy against Babylon. Jehovah is mustering an army for war. They come from the faraway lands to destroy the whole country. Babylon, the jewel of the kingdoms, will be overthrown by God like Sodom and Gomorrah. Look at the land of the Babylonians, the people that now are of no account. Flee out of Babylon. Leave the land of the Babylonians. She will be the least of the nations, a wilderness, a dry land, a desert. How broken and shattered is the hammer of the whole earth. How desolate is Babylon among the nations. How desolate Babylon will be among the nations. Her towns will be desolate, a land where no one lives. I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters. With her the kings of the earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth became drunk on the wine, or the money of her adulteries. Babylon the Great became a dwelling for demons, a haunt for every impure spirit, a haunt for everything unclean and detestable. All the nations have drunk the maddening wine of her adulteries. The kings of the earth committed adultery with her, and the merchants of the earth grew rich from her excessive luxuries. Then I heard, come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not suffer any of her plagues. This is from Isaiah, but you see the cross references from Revelation.
Go down, sit in the dust, Babylon, city of the Babylonians. Your nakedness will be exposed, your shame uncovered. I will take vengeance. I will spare no one. No more will you be called Queen, city of the Babylonians. You said, I am forever the eternal queen, but you did not consider the things that or reflect on what might happen. Now listen, you lover of pleasure, lounging in your security, saying to yourself, I am, and there is no one besides me. I will never be a widow or suffer loss. Both of these will overtake you in a moment, on a single day. Disaster will come upon you. Catastrophe you cannot foresee will suddenly come upon you. The fire will burn them up. These are no coals to warm you for warmth. This is not a fire to sit by. Again, this is from Revelation, cross-referenced Jeremiah and Isaiah. I'll show you the punishment of Babylon the Great, who sits by many waters. The kings of the earth committed adultery with her. The people of the earth were drunk with the wine of her adulteries. She held the gold cup. The beast and the 10 kings will hate the prostitute and burn her with fire. The merchants of the earth grew rich from her luxuries. Come out of her, my people, so that you do not receive her punishment. She says, I sit as queen. I will not be a widow, and I will never mourn. In one day, death, mourning, famine, she will be consumed by fire. The prophecy against Babylon. Listen, an uproar among the kingdoms. Nations massing together. Jehovah is mustering an army for war, to destroy the whole country. Wail, for the day of the Lord is near. It will come like destruction from the Almighty. See, the day of the Lord is coming, a cruel day, with wrath and fierce anger, to make the land desolate and destroy the sinners within it. I will punish the world for its evil. I will make men scarcer than pure gold. See, I will stir up against the Babylonians, the Medes, who do not care for silver or gold. They'll strike down the young men. Babylon, the jewel of the kingdoms, the pride and the glory of the Babylonians will be overthrown by God like Sodom and Gomorrah. She will never be inhabited through all generations. Even if Babylon ascends to the heavens or the skies and fortifies her lofty stronghold, like Star Wars, I will send destroyers against her. The sound of a cry came from Babylon, the sound of great destruction from the land of the Babylonians. Jehovah will destroy Babylon. He will silence her noisy din. This is from Habakkuk, by the way. Watch the nations. I'm going to do something in your day that you wouldn't believe. I am raising up the Babylonians, who sweep across the whole earth and seize dwellings not their own, who live by luxury and enjoy the choicest of foods. This is following 9/11. The prophecy about the time of the end. Though it linger, wait for it, it will surely come. See, he's puffed up. His desires are not upright. Wine betrays him. He's arrogant, greedy. He gathers to himself all the nations, takes captive all the peoples. All of them will taunt him with ridicule and scorn. You destroyed lands, cities, and everyone in them. Your creditors suddenly wake up and make you tremble with fear. Then you will become their victim. Then I heard from heaven, come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues. Pay her back double for what she has done. A nation from the north will attack and lay waste her land. I hope you noticed in this video study, which is fairly comprehensive, all the language that God uses to describe and identify Babylon the Great. I've written an extensive study on Babylon the Great titled The Watchman's Guide to End Time USA. The Bible study is one that many Christians do not want to do, but it's critically important to the survival of many. Now that the words of the scroll are open, there is no longer a mystery to the identity of Babylon the Great. Once again, it's important to include the words of the prophets to uncover this mystery. God speaks about Babylon the Great in the same way in the Old and New Testaments. We need to be very mindful of that and understand how critical this study is.